The population of America underwent a significant change with the 1920 census. Large towns and cities became the primary place of residence for a greater number of Americans, surpassing small towns and rural areas for the first time. Most Americans held values that were deeply influenced by small town living. These values included conservative morals and social norms, a strong dedication to hard work, and close family ties. The process of urbanization, which involves people moving from rural areas to cities, had gained momentum by the 1920s. Metropolitan areas like New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia have grown into large cities, and currently there are more than 65 cities with populations surpassing 100,000. The influence of urban values started to shape the nation, resulting in a noticeable difference between life in large cities and small towns. In urban areas, individuals from various backgrounds would engage with one another, and busy city centers would witness a continuous movement of workers, cars, buses, and streetcars. Urban residents generally displayed a greater openness towards novel concepts in the realms of art, science, and politics. They enthusiastically embraced the vibrant nightlife, displayed greater tolerance towards indulging in drinking and gambling, and led a more accelerated lifestyle. Nevertheless, the urban setting can also feel impersonal and solitary, presenting difficulties for individuals who are new to city living. The era of Prohibition was marked by a significant clash between the values of small town and city communities. Prohibition was a countrywide prohibition on alcoholic beverages that was enforced by the 18th Amendment, which became effective in 1920. Most of the support for Prohibition came from religious rural white Protestants. Although it was a legal measure, Prohibition encountered various difficulties. The lack of enough law enforcement officers has impeded the ability to enforce laws effectively, resulting in individuals resorting to producing alcohol unlawfully. During the Prohibition era, speakeasies emerged as illicit venues that served alcohol, gaining popularity among urban dwellers, including individuals from respectable middle-class backgrounds. Moreover, bootleggers illicitly transported alcohol from Canada, Cuba, and the West Indies in order to satisfy the demand. The Prohibition era resulted in a widespread disregard for the law and directed a substantial sum of money towards organized crime. Gangsters, particularly Al Capone from Chicago, acquired dominance in the unlawful alcohol industry. Chicago gained a reputation for its notorious and violent gang-related activities. The increasing crime and violence led to widespread demands for the repeal of Prohibition. By the middle of the 1920s, a mere 19% of Americans were in favor of it. In the end, the 21st Amendment of 1933 repealed Prohibition. In the 1920s, Christian fundamentalism emerged as a religious movement in the United States. Fundamentalists held the belief that every word in the Bible should be interpreted literally. They opposed the increasing reliance on scientific progress that was becoming more common in society. Fundamentalists had a disagreement regarding Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. This theory suggested that plant and animal species had gradually evolved over a span of millions of years. On the other hand, fundamentalists argued that the Bible's description of creation, which asserts that God created the world and all living beings in 6 days, is correct. As a result, they supported legislation that aimed to forbid the instruction of evolution. Fundamentalist preachers were able to draw in sizable crowds to religious revivals, especially in the southern and western regions of the country. Additionally, they acquired political influence. In the year 1925, the state of Tennessee enacted a law that deemed the act of teaching evolution as a criminal offense. The law encountered opposition, and the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, promised to support any teacher who contested it in court. John Scopes, a biology instructor hailing from Dayton, Tennessee, made the deliberate choice to openly educate his students about the concept of evolution. As a result, he faced legal consequences and was apprehended, which ultimately led to a widely publicized trial. The ACLU hired Clarence Darrow, a famous trial lawyer, to represent Scopes, while William Jennings Bryan acted as the prosecutor. Despite Scopes being convicted of law-breaking, the trial primarily focused on broader matters such as evolution and the involvement of religion in educational institutions. Journalists from various countries gathered to report on the Scopes trial. A significant moment during the trial took place when Bryan, while being questioned by Darrow, admitted that although the Earth was created in 6 days, those days may not have been exactly 24 hours long. This statement suggested that the Bible can be interpreted in various ways. Although Scopes was found guilty initially, his conviction was subsequently overturned by the Supreme Court of the state. Nevertheless, the prohibition on the instruction of evolution continued to be upheld as a legal statute in Tennessee.